Welcome to Civil Engineering Institute. Today we are going to discuss about design of isolated footing. Before going to the design of isolated footing, we should know what is the meaning of foundation, why foundation is provided in the structures. Actually, a foundation is a structure that transfer loads from superstructure to the substructure, or we can say it transfers the load to the ground level, and it is generally is of two types: shallow foundation and deep foundation. Here you can see this is substructure and this is superstructure. एक्चुअली यहाँ पर स्ट्रक्चर का कुछ हिस्सा ज़मीन के अंदर होने से स्ट्रक्चर ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाता है। अगर स्ट्रक्चर कम्प्लीटली ज़मीन के ऊपर होता तो उतना स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं हो पाता जितना कुछ हिस्सा ज़मीन के अंदर होने से होता है। अगर स्ट्रक्चर ज़मीन के ऊपर होता है तो इन दैट केस द विंड फोर्सेस, the earthquake forces, any vertical loading or dead load or live load which is acting on the structure may causes the falling of the structure on the ground level like this. Since some part of the structure is beneath the ground level, hence the structure is much more stronger as compared to the position when the structure is on the ground surface. So column footing is provided basically for various purposes, like it provide or it act as a support for the upper structure, and it transfers load and moment safely to the subsoil. Generally, footings are designed to resist the bending moment and shear force developed due to the soil reaction. We will discuss about the soil reaction, how soil reaction develops within the soil. Foundation is of two types, that is shallow foundation and deep foundation. And shallow foundation is categorized into various types like isolated footing, wall footing, combined footing, cantilever footing, wrapped or mat foundation. Like that, deep foundation is also classified into three types, that is pile foundation, pier foundation or caisson foundation. So from all these types of foundation, we will discuss only the design of isolated footing, which is nothing but a shallow foundation. Shallow foundation में हमेशा डेप्थ कम रहता है आज कंपेयर टू द डीप फाउंडेशन, जहाँ पर लोड ज़्यादा आता है, लाइक एजुकेशनल बिल्डिंग, हॉस्पिटल बिल्डिंग. So in that case load is much more higher than the residential building. So for all residential building we are providing shallow foundation if the soil is more stronger. So based on the soil condition and type of loading, we can choose shallow foundation or deep foundation. So these are the various plans of isolated footing, combined footing, strap footing or mat or wrapped foundation. Isolated footing can be of rectangular type, circular type and square type. And the plan of the isolated footing can be flat, sloped or stepped. Here you can see this is the example of a square footing. The square footing can be flat like this. The square footing can be sloped like this. The square footing can be stepped like this. Here you can see the pictures of flat square footing, and the portion with the reinforcement which is emerging from the footing is nothing but the reinforcement of column. The reinforcement is provided, the footings are provided within a multi-story building. Here 15 numbers of footings are provided, and plinth beams are connected to the footings. All the footings are isolated footing. Come to any one of the isolated footing. So beneath the soil, the footings are provided like this. Over the plain cement concrete surface, reinforcement are provided. You can see the reinforcements. So here the column is provided from the center portion of the footing, and the covers of the footings are also provided. Here in the footing you can see the distribution bar and tie bars. So we will discuss about the reinforcement details. You can see the cover here. So let us discuss about the design of isolated footing. So these are the various steps. By following these steps, we could able to design the isolated footing. First of all, we have to determine the size of the footing. Then we have to determine the net upward pressure or upward soil reaction, then bending moment, then depth of the footing, then reinforcement details. Reinforcement details we can also calculate, or we can draw later or after checking. So we have to check for one-way shear, two-way shear and development length. So first of all, we should have a clear idea regarding the net upward pressure or net upward soil reaction, as well as how bending moment is developing within the footing and how shear is developing within the footing, or what do you mean by the one-way shear, two-way shear or punching shear. So about one-way shear and two-way shear you can find in the IS 456-2000 in page number 72, 73, 58 and 59 respectively. So let us understand what is the meaning of net upward pressure or soil reaction. यहाँ पर जब लोड एक्टिंग करता है, here actually the slab is shown, column is shown, beam is shown as well as footing is shown. जब भी इसके ऊपर कुछ भी लोड एक्टिंग करता है, this load is transferred to the beam, then from beam it is transferring to the column, from the column it is transferred to the footing. So this vertical load distributes over the footing area. This is the footing area. यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होने के कारण इसमें क्या होता है, सॉइल के अंदर अपवर्ड रिएक्शन जनरेट होता है. ऑल ऑफ यू नो दैट टू एवरी एक्शन देयर इज एन इक्वल एंड ऑपोजिट रिएक्शन, दैट इज न्यूटन्स थर्ड लॉ. सो लाइक दैट whenever downward vertical load is acting over the surface of the footing uniformly, So in order to prevent that, soil is generating upward pressure which acts over the entire surface of the footing. So this is nothing but the net upward pressure, and which is provided by the soil. Now let us understand what is the meaning of one-way shear. Here you can see, whenever the load is acting on the footing, then this unsupported portion, actually this portion is unsupported, not supported by anything. The center portion is supported by the column, and here it is supported by soil as well as column. So net effect is quite small as compared to this unsupported portion, because here only the soil reaction is present, but nothing is nothing is present over this unsupported length to protect this length from soil reaction or upward soil reaction. So here downward first force must be there. So डाउनवर्ड फोर्स अगर यहाँ पर होता है तो ही ये नेट अपवर्ड फोर्स को रेजिस्ट कर सकता है, वरना नहीं कर सकता. सो यहाँ पर क्या होता है, नेट अपवर्ड फोर्स होने के कारण दिस पोर्शन टेंड्स टू separate from this portion. So this separation occurs by the help of this failure plane. So this failure plane develops due to shear, or this is nothing but the shear, because the tangential force is acting over the surface. So actual force is acting over the surface, this is why this is known as the shear. If this shear happens in this direction or this length only, then this is one-way shear. If shear occurs not only in this direction but also in this direction, then in that case that will be known as the two-way shear. Okay, actually here shear is occurring in this direction or over this length only. This is why this is known as one-way shear. So one-way shear is similar to the bending shear in slabs, considering the footing as a wide beam. So वो बीम में जैसे ही, मतलब वाइड बीम में जैसे shear आता है, तो उसी तरह इसमें भी shear आता है. ठीक है. So we can find the lowest value in table number 30 of IS 456/2000, that is 0.35 Newton per mm square. So one-way shear can be calculated, or one-way shear can be checked by calculating tau c and tau v value. We will see this in the problem. So let us understand about the two-way shear or punching shear. So here in this case, shear is occurring not only in this direction but also in this direction, और both unsupported length के ऊपर shear acting होता है. So here you can see the critical phase of the shear is at a distance of d by 2 from the face of the column. So here from d by 2, so total length is the length of the column. This length is d by 2 and this length is d by 2. So total length is c plus d by 2 plus d by d, or c plus d. So this actual punching shear, what is the meaning of punching shear? मान लीजिए कोई स्मॉल थिकनेस का हमने एक पेपर लिया है, तो उसके ऊपर हम जब पंच मशीन से पंच करेंगे, so when the thickness of the paper is small, so we can punch it easily. But when the thickness of the paper is more, or when the thickness of the paper is large, then in that case we may face difficulties while punching it. So like that, the column tends to punch or tends to move in downward direction, making a punch over the surface of the footing like this. Here you can understand. So the column tries to punch the surface of the footing like this, or tries to make a hole like this. So this is nothing but the punching shear failure. So critical shear is acting at a distance of d by 2 from the face of the column. But for one-way shear, the critical phase is at a distance of d from the face of the column. So here you can see this is nothing but the punching shear failure. So two-way shear or punching shear is the tendency of the column to punch through the footing slab. The maximum value of shear stress can be calculated by following the IS 456 clause number 30.6.3.1, which is equal to 0.25 root over of FCK. And the critical phase is at a distance of d by 2 from the column face. So let us now understand about the bending. What is the meaning of bending? जैसे कि हम लोगों ने पहले डिस्कशन किया है, this unsupported length of the footing over which only net upward soil reaction force is acting, no downward force is acting. But in the central portion, the downward force of the column is balanced by the net upward force of the soil. But here in this unsupported length, net upward reaction force is not balanced by any downward force. That is why the unsupported length tends to bend like this. So it behaves as a cantilever beam. Okay, this is fixed portion and this is free. So this is fixed portion, this is free. So this is also behaving like a cantilever beam. So the lies in this portion for bending. Okay, so here the critical phase lies at the face of the column. So here you can see this is fixed portion and this is free portion. So maximum bending moment in the case of cantilever beam is equal to PL square by 2E. P is the load acting over the surface of the footing. Here the load acting over the surface of the footing or self weight is nothing but the P. So here maximum bending moment is equal to PL square by 2. The bending moment diagram is like this. Okay, so this is PL square by 2. And here the length is nothing but this length is the actual required length. So from this to this portion is B. As it is a square footing, the dimension of the footing is B and the dimension of the column is D. So this dimension is equal to B minus D. So this length is equal to B minus D by 2. So the maximum bending moment is nothing but P whole into B minus D by 2 whole square into 1 by 2. So some design consideration we should remember, that is for mild steel the minimum reinforcement is 0.15% and for HYST bar the minimum reinforcement is 0.12% and the diameter of the reinforcing bar shall not exceed the 1/8 of the total thickness of the slab. This is required, we will see in the design problem. and some design considerations should be remembered about the thickness of the footing, and the minimum thickness should be 150 mm, and for files it should be 300 mm. And about the development length will be calculated by the formula, that is LD is equal to 5 sigma s divided by 4 tau beta. The sigma s for the limit state method is 0.87 into Fy. So if we are calculating the development length for M20 grade concrete and Fe 415, then the development length is equal to 37.65. By putting the value of phi or diameter of the bar, we could able to get the development length. So let us it is rounded up to 45. So all the steps can be summarized in 3 parts. That is, while solving the problems regarding the design of isolated footing, we need to calculate first the depth of the footing, then we have to check the reinforcement requirement, and we have to check for serviceability. So let us discuss the design steps in brief. First of all, we have to calculate the total load acting over the footing. The total load is dead load plus live load. So the load on the column will be considered as the live load, and the dead load or self weight of the footing is nothing but the 10% of the load acting on the column. So let the load acting on the column is P. So the self weight will be 10% of P, that is 0.1 P. So total load is P plus 0.1 P. Okay. So we have calculated the total load. Then we need to calculate the area of the footing. So area of the footing is nothing but the ratio of total load to the soil bearing capacity. All of you know that force is equal to stress into area. So here area is equal to force by stress. So soil bearing capacity is nothing but the net upward pressure. और सॉइल का जो बेयरिंग कैपेसिटी होता है उसी को हम बोलते हैं सॉइल बेयरिंग कैपेसिटी, व्हिच कैन बी डिटरमाइंड with the help of plate load test, cone penetration test, or we can calculate it analytically by the help of Terzaghi's bearing capacity. So after calculating the soil bearing capacity, we could able to find the area of footing required. If it is a square footing, then we need to take the square root of the area. If it is a rectangular footing, then we have to assume some length, and after assuming some length we can find the width, and the provided area should be calculated. If the sides of the square footing is 3.65 meter, then we could make it as a round of figure like 3.7, and after that after providing 3.7 we could able to calculate the total area. So after calculating the dimensions of the footing and area of the footing, we have to calculate the net upward pressure exerted by the soil, which was discussed earlier. अभी हमने डिस्कशन किया नेट अपवर्ड प्रेशर क्या होता है, ठीक है। तो नेट अपवर्ड प्रेशर निकालने के लिए हमको अल्टीमेट लोड चाहिए। हमने अभी यहाँ पर लोड निकाला है। दिस व्हेन वी विल मल्टीप्लाई 1.5 विथ दिस लोड, then that will be known as the factor load. So factor load upon area will be the net upward pressure. So after calculating the net upward pressure, we have to calculate the factored bending moment. So the bending moment was calculated here. Here the bending moment is calculated. I have already make it understandable. हमने अभी समझाया आपको बेंडिंग मोमेंट कैसे निकाला जाता है. सो दिस इज द फॉर्मूला. So by the help of this formula we could able to find the factored moment. Okay, so after calculating the factored moment, the effective depth required can be calculated by the help of this formula. This formula is nothing but the mu limit, okay, is equal to 0.138 FCK B D square. So as we have taken here the Fe 415 grade of steel, that is why I have taken 0.138. If I am taking Fe 250, Fe 500, according to that we have to take 0.148 or 0.149, 0.136 like this, which will be suitable or depends upon the grade of the steel. So from this equation we could able to calculate the depth of the footing, and the depth of the footing will always increased by 1.75 times to 2 times. So in order to resist the shear consideration, that is especially for punching shear consideration. After that we could able to calculate the AST, area of tension steel, by this equation. mu is equal to 0.87 FYST whole into d minus 0.42 XU. जो d को हम बाहर अगर ले आएंगे तो इसी तरह का कुछ इक्वेशन फॉर्म हो जाएगा. तो यहाँ पर से हम AST कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं. अगर हम यहाँ से AST हम कैलकुलेट नहीं भी करना चाहिए तो दूसरा तरीका है, जैसे कि हम परसेंटेज ऑफ स्टील निकाल सकते हैं. दैट इज PT इज इक्वल टू 50 होल इंटू 50 1 माइनस रूट ओवर ऑफ 1 माइनस mu बाई BD स्क्वायर होल इंटू 4.6 बाई FCK डिवाइडेड बाई FY बाई FCK. यही जो फार्मूला हम यूज करके निकाल सकते हैं परसेंटेज ऑफ स्टील. आफ्टर डिटरमाइनिंग द परसेंटेज ऑफ स्टील वी कैन कैलकुलेट द AST. As we know that PT is equal to AST by BD into 100. So from that AST can be calculated. So after getting the AST we could able to calculate the spacing of reinforcement by determining the area of one bar, and this AST is not the total AST, rather it is the per meter एरिया ऑफ रेनफोर्समेंट. मतलब अगर टोटल AST आता है 3000 mm स्क्वायर, देन वी हैव टू डिवाइड द साइड ऑफ द फुटिंग और द डायमेंशन ऑफ द फुटिंग इन ऑर्डर टू गेट द पर मीटर रेनफोर्समेंट. लॉन्ग साइड और शॉर्ट साइड में अगर प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं इन केस ऑफ रेक्टेंगुलर फुटिंग, देन इन दैट केस वी हैव टू divide long side and short side separately. Here it is a square footing, so we have to divide AST divided by any one of the side in order to get the per meter width. So here per meter spacing will be calculated. That is why AST is the per meter area of reinforcement, not the total reinforcement. So now the next step is check for one way shear. So we have understood what is the meaning of one way shear. In order to check one way shear, first of all we have to determine the shear force. So all of we know that force is equal to stress into area. So the stress is the net upward force, that is P. All of we know that the critical section for the one-way shear is at a distance of d from the face of the column. So we only need to calculate this hashed area. So this area is, the length is, this is a rectangular area, the length is b. Now we need to calculate this width only. So here from this length to this length is how much it is? This length to this length is, let us it is b. Here it is taken, it is b, l. Okay, let us it is l. So l minus d by 2 minus small d. So d is the depth or effective depth of the footing. So here from the column face we have to take a distance of effective depth, that is d. So it is l minus b by 2 minus d, and total width is b. So this length is l minus d by 2 minus d, and this is b. So area is b whole into l minus d by 2 minus d. So this is area and this is stress. So total force is equal to stress into area. So after getting the shear force, we can calculate the nominal shear stress, and from that, after that we can get percentage of steel by this equation, that is 100 AST by BD. So from the percentage of steel we can calculate tau C from table number 19 of IS 456. So if tau V is less than tau C, then it's okay. Design is safe against one-way shear. Otherwise, design is not safe from one-way shear if tau V is greater than tau C. So in that case we have to increase the depth of the footing. Now we will discuss about the different types of reinforcement that is provided within the column. Normally dowel bars as well as distribution bars are provided within the footings. You can see the dowel bars are those bars which bars are coming from the column to the footing. So these bars are known as the footing dowels. The main function of dowel bars is to transfer the loads from column to footing, and they are also necessary when concrete is not enough to transfer the load from column. So it is only used for the transfer of loads from column to the footing. Now another bars are the distribution bars. Distribution bars are provided in both direction, in long span as well as in short span direction. So the main function of distribution bars and footings are provided in order to protect the tension force which is developed due to the bending in the cantilever portion of the footing, and the reinforcement in the central band can be calculated by the help of this formula. Here y by x is the ratio of longer side to the shorter side of the footing. Now what is central band? Here you can see in this figure, this portion is central portion, this central portion is the central band, and from which इसका अंदर जितना लेंथ आता है, कितना लेंथ सेंट्रल बैंड के अंदर आता है, वो सब कोडल गाइडलाइंस में मेंशन है. और ये जो एज स्ट्रिप है इसको बोलते हैं, इसको भी बोलते हैं एज स्ट्रिप. This is central strip. So the central strip reinforcement can be calculated with the help of this formula. So distribution bars will be laid either not only in the long span direction but also in the short span direction. So like this, here the distribution bars are provided in the long span as well as short span. As it is a square footing, that is why in both the direction the reinforcement is same. But in case of rectangular bars, the central strip or central band will be designed according to that formula, according to this formula. Okay, in rectangular footing, so here you can see B is the width of the central band and rest portion are the edge strip. So here B is the width of the footing. So from the center of the column, this B by 2 and this B by 2 distance is the total distance. This distance is the total distance of the central band or total length of the central band. Remaining portions are the edge strip. Okay. Now come to the next step, that is check for two-way shear. As we know that the critical section for two-way shear is lies at a distance of d by 2 from the face of the column. Here at a distance of d by 2. So we can calculate the shear force which is acting over the area shown in blue color. Here you can see the area is shown in blue color. So here we are going to find the value of shear force. So force is equal to stress into area. This P is the net upward pressure, and area of this blue portion is to be find out. So total area is B into B, let it be A. So from A we are going to subtract this central portion, this portion we are going to subtract this portion. So the width of this portion is, so this is nothing but let it be D, and this is D by 2. D is the effective depth, small d, and this is D by 2. So from A we are going to subtract D plus D by 2 plus D by 2 is small d. So here it is written, but as we have taken the capital D as 0.5 and small d as 0.4, that is why here value was added. But in this way we can calculate the area, and by multiplying the area with the net upward pressure we will get the shear force. So after getting the shear force we can get the nominal shear stress value. We can determine the perimeter also, and we can compare this nominal shear stress value with the maximum shear stress, that is 0.25 into root over of FCK. If tau c is greater than tau v, then it is safe from punching shear. Otherwise we have to increase the depth of the footing. Okay. Now come to the check of development length. So previously development length was calculated as 37.6 into 5, which is derived from the formula Fs into phi, or diameter of the bar, divided by 4 tau bd. In limit state method this Fs is 0.87 Fy. So if we are selecting Fe 200, Fe 415 grade steel and M20 grade concrete, then the LD will be 37.6 into 5. So it can be rounded up to 40 into 5. So available development length can be calculated by this formula. From the total length, if we subtract this width of the footing, then we can get this, and this is the total development length available. Okay, if the available development length is greater than the length required, then it's okay. Otherwise, we have to increase the width of the footing. So I hope you have understood the different steps which comes for solving the problems regarding the design of isolated footing. And if you have any doubt, then you can post comment in my comment box. So thank you.